Millz Young here. Who's ready to bet on UFC? Me. That's who. Alright, man. We're back. So I'm going to be going over UFC 295. Man, we got a lot of fights to talk about. 13 fights to talk about. Headlined by who? Man, Pereira versus Procházka. Then we also got Pavlovich taking on Tom Aspinall, man, in the co-main event. 2 title fights, 5-round fights, man. So, hey, it wasn't the fights that we were supposed to get. We were supposed to have Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. You guys, who would have thought? Of course, man. You never get what you want in life, you know. You got to settle for other things. But, hey, man, we got some great fights to talk about. Can't talk about the Jon Jones ones. He's got pulled out because he got hurt, injured in his last fight, training camp. So now we got, you know, hey, a good fight, a better fight if you ask me. Pavlovich versus Aspinall is a way more entertaining fight than Jon Jones versus Miocic. I think Jon Jones was just going to run through Miocic. Side note. So, let me know what you guys thought about last week's fights, man. Jordan Almeida and Derek Lewis in the main event went the whole distance. A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't. I had Almeida to win by sub, and he just laid on top of him. Besides that, we was able to cash with Angela Hill. We had a play on Rodolfo Vieira. That fight got canceled and pulled out, so that fight didn't happen. But, hey, the dog came through on Angela Hill, right? Let's go. All right, first fight of the night. It's going to be Jamar Emmers taking on Dennis Bazooka. Jamar Emmers, 19 wins, 7 losses. Taking on Dennis Bazooka, 11 wins, 3 losses. Jamar Emmers, riding a 2-fight win streak, in his last couple of fights out here. The betting favorites, he's a minus 260 on the books out there. Dennis Bazooka made his debut last time out against Sean Woodson. Wasn't able to get the win there. He was a big underdog in that fight. Took it on short notice. He's one of those guys who trains with a good camp out there. Training with Matt Frivola, training with Nazim Sadikov, and the guys at Cerro Longo Jiu-Jitsu. Think this fight's going to be a little bit closer than the line implicates, but I do think Jamar Emmers gets it done. I wouldn't be surprised if Dennis Bazooka puts on a nice showing out there in New York. It's going to be at Madison Square Garden on there. And we have seen Jamar Emmers, not look good in certain fights and just lose them. So I will say I think Jamar Emmers gets it done, but hey, man, you never know out there in New York. Next fight on the card. Joshua Van, 8 wins, 1 loss, taking on Kevin Borjas, 9-1. All right, Kevin Borjas made his debut on the Contender Series last time out. He was a big underdog in there, representing for Peru, okay? And he came through. He was a big underdog. He got the win, got the contract, and got in. Joshua Van, he was supposed to be fighting on the Contender Series back then. I want to say it was probably against Borjas, but, he got pulled off there and fought Z Magomas, some fighter named Z Magomas, Zumagalev. Man, he got a weird name. Just worry about that. But long story short, got pulled into the UFC and got the win in there. Since then, now he's a favorite, man. Big favorite. Minus 250 on the books, I want to say, roughly around there on there. I think this is a fight to where we haven't seen enough tape on either fighter to feel so confident about a play. I think the fight doesn't go the distance in this one. I don't know, man. The fight could go either way, man, because Boras looked like a live dog. And side note, this fight card, you have a lot of live dogs in here, so just keep that in mind, man. That's what we do here at Pick Dawgz. Going to let you guys know which way we can go and try to get us paid, even if it's on the different side. Hey, we just see dollar signs. But yeah, in this one, so I'm going to say fight don't go the distance. But if you ask me, I think Joshua Van gets it done in that one. Next fight on the card. It's going to be a catchweight fight. John Castaneda, 20 wins, 6 losses, taking on Kung Ho Kang, a.k.a. Mr. Perfect. John Castaneda is coming off a win against Muron Gafurov in his last fight off. Kung Ho Kang's coming off a win, too, in his last fight out. Kung Ho Kang is kind of a guy that has overall skills, can do it all. Not great at one thing, but he has a nice jab. He can wrestle when he wants to. John Castaneda kind of has that karate type of stance, throwing a lot of kicks out there and stuff. He was able to get the win over some good fighters in the UFC. I want to say he got the win over Miles Johns too. But I want to say it's 2-3 in his last couple of fights. John Castaneda opened up a minus 140 favorite. Money's been coming in on Kung Ho Kang. I agree with the odds makers on this one. I think the dog's out the cage in that one. Give me Mr. Perfect to get it done. All right, next fight on the card. Jared Gordon, 19 wins, 6 losses, taking on Mark O. Madsen, 12 wins, 1 loss. The bet lines got Jared Gordon at a minus 2-1 favorite. Mark O. Madsen, a nice underdog price tag. Jared Gordon, Let's just talk about it for a minute. I don't think that he should be a minus 200 favorite in any of his fights. Point blank, period. Marco Madsen was one of the guys that a lot of people was making money with in the UFC. Coming off of one loss right now off of Grant Dawson, I think he's getting disrespected in this one. I think the oddmakers got this one off a little bit. I mean, off a lot if you ask me. I think maybe Jared Gordon should be a minus 135 favorite at the most. Marco Madsen has ways to win in here. I think that he can wrestle Jared Gordon and get him down. You know, he's not going to be putting too many punches once he gets him down. That's the one thing about Marco Madsen. Doesn't have a lot of striking acclimates to go along with his wrestling. But, I mean, he's a Greco-Olympian type wrestler out there. So, I think I like Marco Madsen in this one, man. If you ask me, I think the dog's out the cage in this one. Yeah, man, let's go. I think Marco Madsen gets the job done in that one, man. But, yeah, that's another thing. I have 2 rules. Well, I have more than that. But Jared Gordon should never be a minus 200 favorite against anybody. All right, next fight on the card. We got a banger. Banger alert, man. But before we do that, smash that like button for me. Smash that like button for us. All right. Next fight on the card, Nazim Sadikov, a.k.a. the Black Wolf, takes on Vladimir Borishev, a.k.a. Slava Claus. 2 of the best nicknames in MMA, man. Facing up, who's going to win? Let's talk about the odds for a minute. Nazim Sadikov opened up a minus 160 favorite on the books. Money's coming in on Borishev. Now he's down to a minus 135. Nazim Sadikov, I had fighters that I used to interview that was telling me about this guy way before he got in the UFC. So right when he did get in the UFC and got in a contender series, I was already had an eye out on him. You know, he was able to get a couple of wins in the UFC over Terrence McKinney in a fight that a lot of people thought Terrence McKinney was going to win. He can wrestle. He can strike. He can get the job done. Training with Matt Favola and training with Sarah Longo fighters over there, Aljamain Sterling, Merab Dvalishvili, and fighters like that. He's definitely getting those best looks in the training gym. On the other side, you got Borishev. I like him too, man. His striking is nice. He got some good boxing out there. He's actually the striking coach for Team Alpha Male out there in Sacramento for a lot of the fighters out there. But he struggles with takedowns, and if you can take him down, you can mix it up. You know, that's your path to win in here. I like both these fighters, folks. I think this fight doesn't go the distance, but I got to go with the Black Wolf in this one, man. Next fight on the card. This fight just came in off a short notice. Matias Rebecki, 18 wins, 1 loss, taking on Roosevelt Roberts, 12 wins, 3 losses. The bet line is crazy. Rebecki's a minus 700 favorite. Roosevelt Roberts just took this fight on short notice because the other guy's original opponent had to pull out. Roosevelt Roberts was just in the UFC a couple of years ago, got cut, you know, and then made his return back on the UFC Ultimate Fighter Series. Wasn't able to get the contract in there. Fought Austin Hubbard in there in a close fight that a lot of people thought could have won either way. Takes this fight on short notice. Man, I was saying earlier, I think Roosevelt Roberts is getting disrespected. Minus 700. Yes, the line's off on there. Maybe 450. You know, at the highest or something like that. But yeah, best player in this one. Rebecki wins inside the distance. I'll say in this one. Yeah, keep it moving on the card. But yeah, I'm going for you, Roosevelt. Let's go, man. I think that line's off too. All right, next fight on the card. First women's fight of the card, and this one's gonna be a good one. 2 talented women that's going to be taking off, okay, in the strawweight division. We got Tabitha Ricci, 9 wins, 1 losses, a.k.a. Baby Shark, taking on Lupi Godinez, 11 wins, 3 losses, okay. Lupi Godinez is the 12th ranked in the division. Tabitha Ricci is roughly around the 11th. Whoever wins this is going to get pushed up in the division in the rankings real quick and real high, and it deserves why. Tabitha Ricci, she's a good striker out here, fast on the feet, good boxing, you know, can mix in the takedowns too, you know, and likes to push that pace on her opponents out there. You know, she's not around there to take damage and engage in a war. Hasn't seen how she looks on her back because she hasn't been taken down too many times in too many fights. Lupi Godinez on the other side, she got good boxing too. You know, packs a lot of power in her punch, but she's a wrestler, man. When she goes for those takedowns, she's relentless. I remember in certain fights, she'll get like 4 or 5 takedowns. She was one of those fighters that was, you know, fighting more frequently when she first came into the UFC, fighting like every 3 months, you know, moved up weight classes and stuff. Now she calmed down, but I just have a thing. I can never bet Lupi Godinez like that no more because I lost a lot of money as a big favorite. She was one of those fighters to where, like I said, I would bet and I would back and I would back. She got out to a -300 favorite against Angela Hill, and I was at that event, so I went, laid the money on her, and man, she didn't go for any takedown. She just tried to stand there and strike with her. So when she did that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just hard to get over it. Tabitha Ricci, I've been making money on her, man. If you ask me, Lupi Godinez is a -170 favorite. A lot of people are going either way on this side. I think I like the dog in this one. I think the shark is out the cage in this one, okay? I think Tabitha Ricci is going to be the way faster fighter out there. I think, you know, she can go up early in the rounds. You know, that's the only thing. Stuff the takedowns. Don't be around her. Don't get clinched up against the cage and just keep it moving and outstrike her. That's the path to win against Lupi Godinez. Let's go ahead, baby shark. Let's get it done. All right, next fight on the card, Steve Ursay, 10-1, taking on Alessandro Costa, 13 wins, 3 losses. Man, we still talking about the prelims, folks, because it's stacked out here, okay? You got so many fights on the prelims, man. We got this last one before we kick off the main card. Steve Ursay is opening up a slight favorite on there on the books. Looked good his last time out against Dave Dvorak. He was able to get that win in there and is making his UFC debut in a fight that he was a big underdog in. Alexander Costa looked good in his last fight against Jimmy Flick, I want to say, and got that win. But that's Jimmy Flick. Can't put too much into that, right? Both these fighters don't have too much tape on them in the UFC, so you got to take it for what it's worth. But for what it's worth, I do like what I see out of Steve Ursay, man. He's overall good everywhere, man. People are sleeping on his wrestling too. You know, he's a methodical type fighter, it seems like. If something's not working, he'll go the other way. I like his takedown efficiency as well, so I think he can mix that in with the striking. Costa has a nice little powerful punch out there, but I think Steve Ursay gets this one done in this one. Main card's kicking off, but before we do that, smash the like button for me. Let me know what you guys are betting on, okay? Let me know, man. It's a stacked weekend. We got college football. Who's your team? Who's playing? Mine's is Kansas State Wildcats. We lost to Texas, man. I can't believe it, man. We had a chance, too. All right. Main card taking off. Pat Sabatini, 18 wins, 4 losses. Taking on Diego Lopes, 22 wins, 6 losses. Pat Sabatini's opening up a minus slight favorite now. Money's been coming in on Lopes, okay? Pat Sabatini looked good in his last fight out, finishing Almeida, getting the job done. Before that, he was on the wrong end of a loss to Damian Jackson, I want to say. Diego Lopes, he's looking good, making his debut against Evolov. Ever since then, he did lose that fight, but he came back with the win over Gavin Tucker and looked so good, phenomenal in it. He's a submission specialist. He's the Alexa Grasso's jiu-jitsu coach. Pat Sabatini is a wrestling specialist. He's all about takedowns. I like the dog in this one, man. I think the dog's going to be out the cage. I think what Pat Sabatini does is great in takedowns. What Diego Lopes does is great submissions and specials. So I think Lopes gets it done. Next fight on the card, one of the best ones, I'm going to say. Matt Frevola, 11-3, taking on Benoit Saint Denis, 12-1. Man, Benoit Saint Denis just fought last time out. Matt Frevola's on like a 3-fight win streak, finishing all his opponents too. The line has Saint Benoit Denis, minus 240. I'm going to just keep it nice and straight. I like the dog in this one, man. I think the dog's out the cage in this one. I think Matt Frevola can mix in his wrestling, mix in his jiu-jitsu, stuff some takedowns, and just put his lights out. I'm going to go ahead with Matt Frevola, KO, round 1 or round 2. Let's get it done, man. Steamroller Frevola. Next fight on the card, Mackenzie Dern, 13-3, taking on Jessica Andrade, 24-12. Every single month, it seems like I've seen Jessica Andrade fight. Mackenzie Dern, I think, is going to get this one done in here. I really like the way that she's been adding to her game and her jiu-jitsu. Her boxing's been coming around. Her cardio got better, too, as well. Mackenzie Dern for the win. Co-main event, Tom Aspinall, 13 wins, 3 losses, taking on Sergey Pavlov, 18 wins, 1 losses. It opened up pretty much a pick 'em and stayed there. Now you got Tom Aspinall, minus 120. Sergey Pavlovich coming up. So I think in this one, either way you bet it, either way you look at it, you're going to have a good bet because you got 2 fighters who have paths to win. I'm torn on this fight. The co-main event and the main event I'm kind of torn on. I'm kind of still going back and forth. But I guess I got to go with my gut. I got to go with my first decision. I'm going with Tom Aspinall to get it done, man. I think if he can mix this in the takedowns, he can get him with the ground and pound. Maybe even submit Sergey Pavlovich. It does worry me, though. Tom Aspinall is taking this fight on 2 weeks' notice. Compared to Sergey Pavlovich, he's been training for a fight, you know, so he's been kind of getting ready compared to Aspinall. All right, main event, man, taking place. Who y'all got? Yuri Procházka is back, folks. 29 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, taking on Alex Pereira, 8 wins and 2 losses for the title, folks. All right, man. So it stayed a pick 'em. Now you got Pereira like a -115 favorite on there, -120, I think. Yuri Procházka had surgery, took a year off, had to give up his belt. Now he's back trying to claim what he deserves as his. Alex Pereira stepped up to this weight class and took 1 fight against Jan Blachowicz, and now he's fighting for the title. It's crazy, man. He was just fighting at middleweight. Steps up to light heavyweight, 1 fight, 1 win. Debatable. Now he's fighting for the title. I guess the UFC's pushing the A side in this one. But I think this fight could go either way, folks. I think both fighters got paths to victories to win. And I still don't know, but I guess I got to go with my gut, my first one. All right, well, fuck it, man. My first pick, my first gut told me, and I was Yuri Procházka, okay? Then I try to build myself in a case and say, oh, man, I think Alex Pereira is going to win because Yuri Procházka is hittable. I'm kind of leaning that way now. You know, Yuri Procházka keeps his hands down way too much. And Alex Pereira might just be able to catch him. You know, and the same thing. Alex Pereira keeps his hands down low way too much. And Pereira and Procházka like the same. They're dangerous, man. Could go either way, man. That's why I'm kind of torn on it. But I'm just giving you guys my first gut reactions on those when they first came out. So, yeah, man. Tom Aspin on the co-main event. And Yuri Procházka in the main event was my first thoughts. All right, man. Now, look, if you guys want to see what I'm betting on, my best bets, head on over to the site Pick Dawgz. I'm going to put up my 3 packs for you guys. I got a lot of plays in there, a lot of props, a lot of other ways to get paid, too. So, go ahead and check us out. And, hey, man, get that 3-day pass. You won't go wrong. Now, look, if you guys want to parlay, let's go ahead and give you guys one, man. I like Mackenzie Dern and Jamal Emmers. Yeah, I say those two definitely, put those two together and get you paid. Yeah, Mackenzie Dern and Jamal Emmers. All right, Millz Young, man. Before you guys go, smash the like button for me one time out there, man. All right, have a great day. MMA Locker Room. If you guys want to check out any interviews with these up-and-coming fighters, I got one with Matt Frivola. Just type in Matt Frivola and MMA Locker Room. See you guys soon next week. We'll be smashing these books. Pick Dawgz. Who?